Hi, everybody. This is a presentation on dual coding theory. Ryen Rapp is my name for MIT 501 in the summer of 2022. Right off the bat here, what is dual coding theory? Well, if you placed your hand over this part of your screen, you would see a picture right there. And you'd go, oh, well, that's a dog. And if I do that over that part of the screen, I can still see the word dog. Now, you can't see that, obviously, on my side. But essentially, that's what we're looking at is the verbal and the mental images that are given and how they can connect and how they can help our students. So first up, who came up with this theory? Well, this theory, the theory of Dr. Alan Paivio. Paivio was a professor of psychology at the University of Western Ontario. He earned 3 degrees, including a PhD from McGill University in Canada. During his time in his profession, as you can see, 91 years old, he wrote over 200 peer-reviewed articles and chapters in 5 books. In my research on him, I came up with these 2 trivial things, but I think they're important. One, his brother fought in the Spanish Civil War, which I just think is awesome, and it's a deep part of his family. His parents were both artists. His father was a poet. And when I read the obituary for Paivio, that added to everything. And then he was a successful bodybuilder, which is why I put this picture in there. Because when we're talking about this development, when you want to build your body that way, you can't just lift weights. No, and you can't just diet. No, it's a combination of both. It's a combination of exercise and diet. Same thing here. We're teaching, rather than just writing words on a board or drawing pictures, we're combining both. You need both. So what exactly is dual code theory? So the principle of it all is that our recall, our recognition is enhanced by presenting information in both visual and verbal form. The theory of dual coding gives equal weight to both of those processing mechanisms, which, as we've learned about our cognitive states and our subset systems for cognitive recognition, that there are 2 subsystems for each. Both systems have their own representational units. So imagens, which are for mental images, and logogens for verbal subsets. So when I say ice cold Coca-Cola, you may see the words Coca-Cola. Think about it. You've driven by a McDonald's, $1, any size, Coca-Cola. You're like, oh, I know what that is. Visualize. Or I could just pull out a soda in a glass and start pouring it. And you're going to think that looks like an ice cold Coca-Cola. You'll notice one of the picture there that is an example of a drawing, obviously, but it's in-time drawing, which is something, it's part of a lesson plan that includes using dual code theory. And what that is what is that? And then you write the word. What is that? Write the word. Now, the application to the education in general, one of the things I really like when researching this is that I could find that easy example in there. By doing that, I mean, think about it: drawing, diagrams, posters, timelines, graphic organizers. Now, remember, we're learning these theories to apply to education in everything from K through 12. But look at all those things right there. We are doing those things as well. So think about that. This is when we talk about its application to education in general, we're using it in our own classes. We do mind maps, which are the diagrams. We do timelines, which can also be diagrams. And graphic organizers, I believe that's literally what we have to do for this assignment. But what is that graphic organizer going to be? We're going to be watching a visual of something, explaining something to us, and we're going to write down what we got from it, and then turn it in. Dual coding allows educators to support our learners in retaining information using picture notes and visual concepts. The theory can be applied to mnemonics, problem solving, and language. That's a big thing. We'll get to that in a minute. Think of a sketch pad. You know, when I was a wrestler, I told you I'm going to bring up wrestling a lot. Why? Because it's an easy example. But when I was a wrestler and I would come up with matches, you'd sketch out different things. You would sketch out, here's the look, here's where we want this to happen. Here's where we want this to happen. You'd write down the words you need. And they would all come together so you could see the basic concept. That's what we're dealing with. And Paivio, the creator of dual coding, was a bodybuilder. And I used the theory of diet and exercise where two symbiotic things can be combined to create something better. Now, the theory isn't accepted by all, because there are, you get some ideas that are really abstract, that are a little bit harder to explain. However, I'm going to show in a second here that it's been done before. And dual coding isn't, the theory is newer, but we're going to find out that it's actually going around. Now, applying this to diverse student populations, you'll notice the picture at the bottom corner. Now, if you don't know what any of those words mean, it's a dog, right? Well, all of those are words for dogs. They did leave hund out. Hund. Die Hund. Yep. My Hund. That's German. So the study that I found was by the American Association of Nurse Anesthesiology. And what they wanted to do was use visual learning, use dual code theory to teach nursing students throughout, not just in a classroom, but throughout, all dispersed, how to do these extremely intricate things with their patients. I mean, we're talking, we're going to show you how to, anesthesiology is not something that's very easy to do, but we're going to show you, and it seems too simple for such a hard thing. It's not. And their conclusion was that they saw dual code theory as an Occam's razor, which Occam's razor is the old thing. It's the simplest solution. In sales, we call it KISS, K-I-S-S. Keep it simple, stupid. You don't have to add the stupid part if you don't want. But what this means is that students from different backgrounds may speak different languages, but visual objects are the same to all of us. A dog is a dog. That is a dog. So by using this two-edge approach, we can increase understanding of new cultures far easier than a lot of the other methods used. And I think that's important. And this theory, this is something that works for all the different types of learning. We always say, well, I'm a visual learner, I'm an audio learner, I'm an oral learner. Here we're combining all of them into one, and it sounds so easy, but yet it's going to allow us to reach students who might not understand, who might be overwhelmed by some of the information coming their way because it's being presented in a way that it's too difficult for them to understand. Where here it's just as simple as going back, drawing something for them, a diagram. So I think this is an interesting theory, and I think it can apply where we can reach students in ways that have never been done in the past. We've talked about dual language classes, and this is it's almost hand in hand. This is a selected bibliography. You'll see the obituary is in there that I used. I also used a couple other things. But the most important thing I wanted to show was that in the article, which is I hope I'm not going over by looking at this. Oh, the Clark and Paivio article from '91. I took this picture. That's the Orbis Sensulum Pictorum. It's an old book. And if you look, it says, "Come, boy, learn to be wise." What does this mean, be wise? To understand rightly. What it is it's dual code theory back from the 16th century, where mothers would teach their children, what this object is, and that's how you would learn that's how you would retain the information. So I thought that was really neat to include here at the end. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to hearing all your guys' presentations.